The permanent members of the League Council became Japan, Italy, Britain and France. As the most powerful states in the Council, it was down to Britain and France to lead the League of Nations. But they had their own priorities. The League of Nations was supposed to encourage disarmament, but neither country wanted to make any cuts in their own armed forces. France's priority was to protect itself against any future German aggression. One French delegate to the 1921 League Assembly put it that
"We must keep our weapons in readiness. France is obliged to be military for the present and to continue to be so in order to avoid the resumption of war. She does not want to have lost 1.5 million lives for nothing."
And Britain's priority was to protect its trade and empire. To do that, it needed a strong navy and army. Britain tried to work with the League, but also continued to negotiate new treaties outside of the League, old-style diplomacy, which further undermined its effectiveness. The trouble was that the League's remit was to uphold the terms of the Treaty of Versailles, but by the mid-1920s, the mood of 1919 had changed. Germany wanted to renegotiate the treaty, and many people in Britain agreed that the treaty had been far too hard on Germany. The League did have some moderate success solving international disputes in its first decade. The 1920s was a decade of economic recovery in Europe, fuelled by US loans, and international tensions had, by and large, eased off. But in 1929, the good times came to an end. Millions of people lost everything they had in the Great Depression after the Wall Street stock market collapsed and US banks called in their loans. Governments looked to their own country's interests. They couldn't afford to make any sacrifices. In this more difficult situation, the League's inherent weaknesses made it much harder for it to keep the peace.